With Cursed City being re-released, why am I not more excited? Now, initially, when it was released, I was ready. I wanted to jump into this. The spiritual successor of Blackstone Fortress. I loved my journey through the Blackstone Fortress. No spoilers. I loved that there were expansions. Being a completionist, this is both a good and bad thing, but Games Workshop put out a lot of big box expansions, smaller expansions, compendiums, White Dwarf tie-in. What more could we really ask? So I was really, really excited to be able to explore that look forward to that similar experience with Cursed City. And it was sold out in moments. eBay, prices $500, $800. And of course, Games Workshop silent as over with next steps. And even giving them the benefit of the doubt, absolute zero communication. Well, now we're getting it reprinted. And many of us in the Warhammer community figured this because clearly they looked at the success of Blackstone Fortress, a license to literally print money through expansions and the base game and tie-ins and pulling in other models. So it makes sense to put that for Age of Sigmar. In putting that out, we expected a reprint. And obviously it was issues of supply chains and production and things like that. But now I take a step back and I can't believe I'm at this point because there's the duality of being a Warhammer 40K fanboy, but increasingly just Games Workshop I'm trying. I mean, you really kind of threw me for a loop over the late summer, early fall with the whole Warhammer Plus thing and shutting down content creators and banning certain things. I mean, we're just pushing that all aside, but it allowed me to step back and say to myself, with so many games out there, and I can't believe I'm literally thinking this way, but this is kind of how I'm feeling. With so many games out there and with so many choices out there, do I want to jump in on Cursed City? I'm not talking about production value. It's going to be fantastic. I'm not talking about the fun of the game. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. But the point that based on their business model, even if there is going to be enough supply, if you don't buy core when it's released, as they released every expansion, and let's say there's going to be 5, 6, or 7, why not? If you don't pick it up in that moment, it is going to sell out. It is a limited edition. Support is going to be dead. And with no community support, what's the future of the game? What is the future of the game? Now, every game is eventually going to go out of production, and every single game eventually is going to kind of wind itself down, maybe with the exception of Hero Quest, but that's a great example. Hero Quest printed. We absolutely never thought we'd get a reprint. Here we are. So it's not a question of a game not existing at some point. It has a life cycle. It's out for a few years. You get a few expansions. Look at Descent 2nd Edition, Runebound 2nd Edition, 3rd Edition Descent, New Descent. Maybe it gets a reboot. But hey, if I buy into this, it's going to be actively supported for a while. The community is going to grow for a while. And then it'll kind of wind down to more of the diehard players. I'm okay with that normal life cycle. But the GW life cycle is if you don't buy in, you're out. And this is probably going to only last for a couple of years, and that's done. Do I want to do that? Do I want to buy into that long term? I don't know. Now, release date, 2022, spring. What does that mean? I assume they're going to have all their supply chain issues worked out, enough production copies, but taking that step back, am I ready to jump into the Cursed City? I'm not so sure. And the thing that even pushes me back more, I'm fortunate because a good friend of mine enjoys Age of Sigmar. Fantastic miniature painter. So he's going to pick it up. He's going to paint it. And if I'm really feeling that Cursed City, we'll just play with his painted set. Perhaps my resources are better served devoting somewhere else.